comparative study. So the emphasis will be on the hand-engineered rule-based system that we developed, and then we compared our algorithm with 24 other algorithms that are popular machine learning algorithms, including simple neural networks. Then I will show so it could lead to death. So according to the WHO, sepsis impacts about 30 million people worldwide a year, causing around 6 million deaths a year around the world. And it impacts more on the lower or middle income countries. So there are two sources of there are two places you can attract this disease. One is just in the community, just acquire that. The other is maybe at hospital or at the medical center where you acquire that. And in that case, it's a little bit more dangerous because the treatment for sepsis is antibiotic. So if you acquire it through a health care facility, then it could happen that the antibiotic doesn't work because of the resistance of the bacteria. So I'm from the U.S., so the statistics, even in the U.S., so with one of the best healthcare systems in the world, is still quite severe. So according to CDC, it impacts about 1.7 million Americans, with around 270,000 deaths a year. So 1 in 3 patients who died in hospital in the United States, they died from this disease. And the sepsis is the most common cause for shock, and the death of non-heart related ICU. So the case for the fatality, meaning if a patient suffers sepsis, 25% chance the patient will die. Okay. So it costs lots of money, $20 billion, which is about 5% of health care costs in the nation. And the problem is getting a little bit worse every year, 1.5% increase every year. So there's a national and international efforts to try to deal with this problem, to reduce the impact. So to recognize, to diagnose sepsis, there are guidelines in the United States. So the physician is supposed to follow the guidelines. But because there are so many different kind of presentations of sepsis, it's very difficult to detect early on, especially. So it's a well detected. So that is the problem. And so it's quite often when you detect that it's pretty late already. And but early treatment of sepsis is very important. So every hour you waste, you increase the mortality rate by 7.6%. So it is important to detect early so that you can treat it early. So in the United States and in other developed countries, and also in many developing countries, there are electronic medical records. Basically, patient records are no longer on paper; they are in the computer system. So, because of the importance of the problem, more than 10 years ago, people started to deal with the problem using computers. So the idea is to develop computer software to assist doctors to make early diagnosis. So these are these tools do not mean to replace doctors, but mean to help doctors to make early detection. But I think the majority of efforts are more in the ICU detection. So ICU detection for sepsis, it's kind of a little bit later stage because the patient already in ICU. So our work is on the emergency department. So when people just feel sick and come to the emergency department. So there have been a number of efforts in the literature in that direction. So if this is some work along the timeline, and the red ones that me and my collaborator, who is emergency department physician, specialized in sepsis. So we did this early version of work. So Cerner is electronic medical record software development company. So they also come up with a module for sepsis detection, but it's not very accurate. So here the last column shows the prediction accuracy, PPV, positive predictive accuracy. So to better understand this measures, I prepared the slides. So it's a mistake. It's called a false positive. That's a false positive. On the other side, if the patient doesn't have a disease, the determination thinks that the patient does. It's a false positive. Then the last thing is if the patient doesn't have the disease, and it is thought that the patient doesn't have disease, it's a true negative. So you have this. So these are the definitions. So in this application, sensitivity and positive prediction value, they are the most important because the positive predictive value means if the computer thinks the patient is sepsis, what is the percentage chance that the computer is correct? Because it is true positive divided by true positive plus false positive. Okay, so that's important. And the other is the sensitivity. Okay, how sensitive the software is. So it's very important to avoid the false positive as much as possible. So you don't want the computer to always alert you say, well, that patient is sepsis. Actually, the patient is not. So it's more like I heard the other day. The newer vehicles, they have this lane departure warning. So the computer constantly detecting whether you're driving out of the lane. And I think there's like 70% of drivers just. So here's the overall. So we want to compare to our system with the machine learning methods. Which one is better? Are they about the same, or our system is much worse? So that's what we want to do. So this overview for the methods. So basically, we use routinely measured vital signs, demographics, and nursing assessments, as well as the blood lab tests. So one of the novelties for our system, which I don't spend, I only have a couple of slides for our system. This problem occurs to children too, but that's not the emphasis of this study. So we have 912 patients that suffer sepsis, and the control group is randomly selected 975 non-septic patients, and that's in the emergency department of a larger hospital, which is Detroit Medical Center. The hospital sees about 250,000 patients every year. So the software side with MATLAB, MATLAB has two apps. One is called the classification of learner. The other is neural net pattern recognition. We did not make any effort to develop a new software. As I said, the purpose is to see whether our rule-based system is at least as good as machine learning methods. So all the variables, same patients, same variables are used for all the machine learning models. So patient data, so as I said, for 1 year, so we use the ICD-9 code, which is the standard coding system. But the system is developed mainly for hospital building purposes. It's not for clinical research purpose or managing purpose. It's for building purpose because when the hospital builds the insurance company or the government, you have to tell that what kind of disease the patient suffers. Okay. Actually, it's not a very binary. It's kind of vague. For the same patient, you can have like 5 to 10 different codes actually. So that's why we have the Dr. Chauvin, which is the emergency department physician on this project. He individually adjudicated all the cases. Okay, so we have total sepsis and non-sepsis. Total is 1,887 cases, and for the non-sepsis patients, we have total about 128,000 clinical events. Clinical events means one clinical could be like a measure temperature, the other could be say measure heart rate. Okay, so these are all together about 130 clinical events. Very important thing I'd like to point out that compared to say machine learning for image recognition or for voice recognition, for video recognition, where it's time series, but all the information is there. Information is regularly measured. The sampling rate, the sampling period is constant. In medicine, nothing is constant. You measure body temperature right now, maybe 5 minutes later you measure respiratory rate, 2 minutes later you measure heart rate. Every patient is different. So the data is irregularly measured. So that's very important to keep in mind. So for the sepsis patients, it's about 150,000 clinical events. We have 43 clinical variables available to us, but we only use 7 or 8 of them. So we do the pre-data, all the data will be used by the 25 models we're going to test. They use the same information. So here gives an overview of our own rule-based system. So we already have applied a patent. So we have it's a provisional U.S. patent application. It's still being reviewed by the U.S. Patent Office. So here is a system. So you have, here is the electronic medical record system. So that's at the Detroit Medical Center where our system is running. So you have clinical assessments input by nurse. So as I said, our system treats different patients differently. So we divide patients into 14 groups. So when a patient comes in, we have a rule-based patient classifier to classify the given patient to one of the 14 classes. And then each class of patients will have their own set of rules, own set of clinical variables being used, own set of thresholds for these variables. And these variables and thresholds, they are optimized by genetic algorithm, which runs offline. You optimize first before you do online application. The actual system is online. I will mention later. So once given a particular patient, it will be classified into one group, and then the particular rules for that patient along with the variables and thresholds will be invoked, and then the information will go to a sepsis score calculator, and then that calculator will compare to a threshold. If the threshold is exceeded, then alert will be electronically sent to the physician via pager. And their case information will be saved in the electronic medical records for retrospective analysis later. So here gives an idea what kind of rules are used. So we use 6 rules. So each rule deals with one variable. So like the first rule deals with the respiratory rate, the second is heart rate, and so on. And this set of rules is applied to a patient after patient is classified into one of the 14 groups. So the classifications are based on 3 factors. One is the patient's age. The second is the patient nursing status, whether the patient is in nursing home. The third is whether the patient receives kidney dialysis. So these are the important. We discovered these 3 factors are the most important factors to group patients. So rules they earn points. So like first rule will earn 1 point if the temperature is larger than V1. So V1, V2 to V6, there are 6 rules. So these thresholds are optimized by the genetic algorithm, as I said. So for each, for the 14 groups, they have different values for these 6 values. So different rules will acquire different number of points. That's determined by the physician on the project based on experience. Okay. So once you have the 3 points or higher, then a sepsis alert will be issued to the doctor. There are a couple of issues, and each rule can be only executed once, meaning if a rule gains a point or gains 2 points, that rule cannot be used anymore, just one time. Second is, once a patient is determined to be sepsis, is not in the objective function, because for this kind of imbalanced problem, you can design a classifier, say every case is negative. You get very high specificity, 99%, but terrible sensitivity and positive predictive value. So one of the machine learning models we compared is neural nets. So that's the standard 3-layer neural nets, and they use the same inputs as the rule-based system. Okay, and so one of the variables, as you know, is how many neurons in the hidden layer. So we experiment to determine the best performance. So we try 1 to 100. And also another uncertainty for neural network model is that the initial conditions. You set up initial weights and biases, so that can determine the performance. So to avoid the bias, we use 50 times. We run the neural nets with 50 different initial values, 50 times, and we use average as a performance for the neural net model. So, and we also use a tenfold cross-validation to establish its performance. So the other 23 machine learning models, they are not neural nets. So they are listed here. So the 3 of them are division trees, because simple, medium, complex depends on how many splits of the trees have. Then we have 2 discriminate analysis. One is linear with quadratic. The other logistic regression, that's very classic statistical means. Then supported vector machines, we have 6 of them. Then have a k nearest neighbor. There are 6 of them, depends on the distance and this. And then we have assemble models, okay, 5 of them, basically. Basically the same kind of classifier. You group them together so that the end result is better than any one of these models can provide. So these are the very-basic 23 models. So now, these are the performance measure before already, just before presenting the results. I just imagine sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value. So one thing is that a little bit challenging to compare two classifiers is that if you have sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive values, you have three numbers, right? How can you compare three numbers with the other three numbers? Which one is better? So for that, we have to reduce to one number. So basically, and we use the accuracy. So accuracy is the true positive plus true negatives. These are all the correct classifications divided by all the cases. I don't know why it doesn't show the denominator. So these are the measures. Now let's look at the performance. So here is the performance. So that's for our own system, rule-based system. So if we divide it into 14 groups, here's the sensitivity specific, like 1 percentage point, that's a big deal. It's not that easy. So overall, the conclusion is if we divide the patient into groups, the performance is much better. Now this top part shows that the 14 different groups, each group, how many patients we have, how many patients are septic, how many are non-septic, and each group, the sensitivity, specificity, and the positive predictive value. Okay, so you can see some groups are pretty poor, like this group 6, sensitivity only like 67%, but fortunately there's only 4 patients. While other groups like group 4, you have 457 patients. Sensitivity is 88%, specificity is 94%. So that in this we can analyze how our system impacts the different groups of patients. And this is the neural network results. So as I said, we tried to run the number of hidden neurons from 1 to 100. So this is, it turns out with the hidden neurons, 65 of them, it gives us the best accuracy, okay? And we don't see a pattern here, say, if more hidden neurons, the better or worse, there's no correlation to the performance. So this table shows that all the 25 models together, the performance. So the first, the best, that is neural nets. Okay. Now I should say that all the machine learning algorithms, neural nets, and the rest of them will run 50 times because 50 different initial conditions. Okay. Then we'll get average. So these are the average of 50. So the best in neural nets, the accuracy, 92.21%. Our rule-based system ranked number 4, 90.9%. Okay, and this highlighted in red, meaning in each category of the performance, like a sensitivity, specificity, positive predictive value, these are the highest values. So sensitivity, highest is the fine Gaussian SVM, 95.8%, even though for sensitivity, even though the accuracy is ranked pretty low. So that gives an idea, okay? So this is the machine learning. Now, so you compare, say, then you would say, well, compared to this, neural nets, we should use neural nets. If not, we should use the SVM. Okay, they both are dead. So the second is the median Gaussian SVM, or the third one is boosted trees. That's in some trees, there's only like 4 steps of the trees. Or logistic regression model that it can give you. So if you look at the table, all the good ones, all the machine learning models with better accuracies, they are complicated models. They are complicated, they are black box. So they cannot tell you why it does what it does, okay? So that is a problem. Now, speaking of that problem, IBM Watson, you probably heard about that. It was very successful. Before 2011, they started this healthcare direction. It could save all the literatures in the system. Computing power was huge, okay? So IBM in 2014, this is from the IEEE Spectrum article last year. There was an article on that, just on IBM Watson. Okay, you could Google it, find it. So in 2014, IBM invested $1 billion. Okay, in this Watson unit, that's not specific for healthcare, but just for technology. I think healthcare is part of it. And then in 2014, they announced the formation of special Watson Health Division. And by the middle of 2016, they spent $4 billion already. Okay, $4 billion already. People in that article, okay, the fonts are too small, do not put there. And most of them produce nothing today. IBM put like a total putting like $6-7 billion, okay? Now, so on top of what you think about the real world implementation to electronic medical records, it's not going to pay for attention.